and how to effectively design business structure, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are a lead manager or corporate leader. And for the last couple of years, I've been teaching on the protocols and kept committing to writing a book. And so tomorrow is the release of the book that's called Understanding How to Execute the Strategy, a 10-step protocol for business success, a business strategy publication. And so tomorrow is the release of that book. And for all of our registered guests, you will get a complimentary copy of the book. But the book just came literally off the press. I want to give to the individual I dedicated the foreword to. And I think he's in the room somewhere. If you will allow me to just read this because it's from my heart. When I reflect on the many things that I have accomplished over time, I can easily delineate what I believe to be critical keys to my business success. The first and most important key to my success is God. He is the reason why I exist. He has given me the ability and capacity to do the things that I do. He has gifted and anointed me with skills and proficiencies that allow me to manage and operate in business from day to day. God has seeded wisdom and knowledge within the tentacles of my being, and for this I am thankful. Secondly, I would not enjoy success in business if it were not for my family and the close friends. To have a loving, strong, and supportive familial base, individuals who understand the value and importance of destiny, those who challenge you to execute at the highest degree possible. This is invaluable. I appreciate my family, those present, as well as those that have been promoted to glory. They, along with my close friends, have served as a foundational rock for me. For this, I am thankful. Next, I must acknowledge my V&J family, and I'm going to ask my V&J family to stand because they will be the ones that will get the second round of books. Okay, y'all can be seated. Your check ain't going up tomorrow. The anchor of my success is hinged on having a team that consistently executes daily. Our motto at V&J is Yahtzee. You are the standard of excellence. I have been blessed and afforded the opportunity to work with employees over the years who have proven themselves to be faithful and committed to our stated goals and objectives. Because of their superiority in delivering great results, V&J has been recognized as an industry leader. Thank you for being the support team that make the vision possible. But then lastly, let me acknowledge my customers, both internal and external. Your continuous support of me and my organization is sincerely and highly appreciated. I could not have made it without you, and I am grateful for every customer. Now, as I end this forward, I want to dedicate this book to a very special person. I dedicate it to my business partner, and my only living sibling, my brother, Attorney John Daniels. John is a result-oriented leader and a brilliant world-class attorney. He is skillful and insightful and is recognized as one of the who's who's among attorneys. He is a legal mogul who has executed major business transactions nationwide. John Daniels is an astute businessman. He's not flashy or flamboyant, but has the heart of gold. John is a man who loves his family and humanity, one who seeks to build community and leaders, one who is always seeking ways to improve the lives of others. He is a champion for many, including often serving as a champion for the underserved. It would take the remainder of this book for me to chronicle the life of John Daniels, his corporate life, his business life, his achievements, because they are so gigantic. That's John. And for those of us who know John, we appreciate his sincere drive for excellence. I am honored to be his business partner, and for over 40 years, I don't look that old, but we have blazed this business trail together. Let me share a little secret with you. The reason why I glean so is because John is like an oil press machine that pushes, and somebody can say amen to this, that pushes and presses you until the true intrinsic value is released. John, thank you for pushing and pressing me, and I thank you for being my hero. You are a true hero in a blighted world that is sometimes challenging. Your unwavering selfishness and dedication inspires us all. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Thank you for loving me, believing in me, and being not only my big brother, collaborator, and confidant, but for being a man of extraordinary courage who motivates countless individuals to excel and soar above the norm. Thank you, John.
Recognized for his fearless reporting and deep analysis of politics. Award-winning excellence with over 40 years of journalistic excellence, including the 2013 NABJ Journalist of the Year, 4 NAACP Image Awards, and induction as a fellow of the Society of Professional Journalists. Roland has demonstrated time and time again why he is a trusted source of media. His powerful commentary on issues like voter suppression has made him a thought leader in journalism. Please join me in welcoming a trailblazing media icon, a man who stands at the intersection of news and activism, Mr. Roland S. Martin.
All right, so how we doing? What you got, like some PowerPoints or something like that? Let me put this down here. There will not be any PowerPoints. Just letting you know right now. That's not how we roll. So we good? How's it been going so far? Oh, okay, just checking. Just checking to make sure, also make sure everybody awake. Glad to be here. It is crazy times. Busy times. Luckily, I remember what city we're in because the name was on the building. We've been in like 4 cities a week for the past month because of this election. And so Milwaukee yesterday, Mobile, Alabama tomorrow. Then we either hit Detroit Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Atlanta, or they might have us in both. So we'll see what happens. And so we've been in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Dallas, Jacksonville. Where the hell else we've been? We've been all kinds of different places. So it's been unbelievable traveling this country, talking to folks on a variety of issues, business owners, young folks as well with this election. So how many folks have already voted? All right, that's good. How many people have yet to vote? All right, who's not gonna vote? That's wise. I was about to throw you the hell out the room. You about to get kicked out the room, and you wasn't gonna get your money back. I'm just letting you know. So just checking. So glad to see folks are engaged. So I appreciate the invite and being here because it's a different conversation when you talk to and about entrepreneurs. Because it takes a different person. There are a lot of folk, the reality is most folk are used to signing the back of the check as opposed to the front of the check because it requires a lot more when you get to sign the back of the check, when in front of the check, because sometimes you might have to be the one who sweeping and picking stuff up. I actually had a brother who stopped me. We were somewhere, and he said, I can't believe, he's like, you're carrying the tripod? I was like, yeah. I said, why would I pay somebody just to carry this when I can carry it? And he literally didn't understand. He didn't understand in terms of what we do. So I had to walk him through, and I could tell he didn't own anything. Because I had to explain to him, I said, well, if I flew somebody here, then I got to pay them a day rate, then I got to pay the travel and the per diem and the hotel room to do something that I can actually sit up in 15 minutes in my hotel room. So I'm confused. Why would I do that? And I said, you don't own anything, do you? He's like, no. I was like, I thought so. So I had to give him an understanding of basic economics when you're in entrepreneurship. So it was quite an interesting conversation. So, but let's get started with this here. Do me a favor. Turn to your neighbor to your left and look them in the eye and ask them this question. No, I ain't gave you the question yet. Don't repeat, turn to your neighbor. Y'all repeating that part. No. I ain't even gave you the question. Turn to your neighbor, look them in the eye, and ask them this question: are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? All right, then look to your other side, because some of y'all don't know your left or your right. So look to your other side and ask them the question: are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Last one, just look behind you or the next table and say, I need to know, are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur. All right, there we go. There we go. All right. All right. Okay, I didn't say give a speech, just ask a question. Some of y'all going overboard. Let me also say this: you can share this with your friends because we're live streaming this on my Black Star Network, and so folk who not here, and that's one of the good things when you own it. You ain't got to ask nobody, so you just go ahead and do it. And which is one of the reasons why I started, because we live in an information drought. And so we appreciate also the folks who are supportive of our network. We launched the show 6 years ago, launched the network 3 years ago. We've grown it to 1.43 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. 5 shows. And a lot of folk told me that the idea would not work. It was very funny. Also, even the YouTube folks said that Black news would not work. I told them, I said, all right, well, watch it work. And we were in a convention in Chicago, DNC. And so when you reach a certain level, they assign you your own person. And so we had a meeting with him, and he said that when they looked at all of the shows they grouped in the progressive category, he said, we were all shocked because out of all these shows, and some of these networks, they've got 3, 4, 6 million subscribers. He said, out of all of them, you have the longest average watch time per viewer out of all of those networks. And I said, well, we not shocked because we understood the work that we do. And that leads me to what I want to talk about, because there are a lot of folk who desire to be entrepreneurs because they want to be rich. And that's fine. If that's your thing, I'm good with that. And I totally understand. I totally understand economic freedom. I totally understand all of that aspect of it. But I think there's a different way of looking at it when you talk about why you are doing it. Last night, one of the reasons why we dragging a little bit, I had to do a lot of radio this morning, but we were up till 1 o'clock last night, and I was chatting with my man G, who owns G Clippers here in Milwaukee. And we did the show from his place last night, and he doesn't have a traditional barber shop. Actually, it's an old bank, and it's 8,000 square feet. And they have community events in there. They have a health area in there, and there's all kind of different things that they do. He said he's hosted movies and poetry slams, and we're talking about all the different things that they actually do there. And I said to him, I said, well, you don't actually own the barbershop, you own a community center. He said, no, it's a barbershop. I said, I understand that the base of it is a barbershop. I said, but in reality, you own a community center. And so as we began to talk about it, and I said, okay, I said, well, let me ask you this here. I said, when you walked into this facility, I said, was this place open or closed? He said it had been closed for quite some time. I said, so when you walked into this place, what did you see? He started laughing. He said, everything we've done, I actually saw. I said, that wasn't economic driven, that was purpose driven. And so as we were talking, he began to talk about how black barbershops back in the day, in terms of the role that they played, in terms of all things that actually happened, they were more than just cutting hair. And so he was laying those things out. And so I began to say, okay, well, what's the next thing? What else do you want to do with this here? Because what I was saying is that if I was a barber anywhere in the country, I would be coming here to look at this place as the blueprint for the type of place that I would want to open. I said, because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of barbers they say, look, I just need me a 2,000 square foot place and I could put 5 to 7 chairs in it. I said, as opposed to, wait a minute, you have this 8,000 square foot place and you're doing more than just cutting hair. You're doing all these other community events. And then what then happens is, because he was talking about how all of these politicians, all of these folks who run for president, who became president, all the people who come through his shop when they're campaigning in Milwaukee, campaigning in Wisconsin. And I said that if I was a barber, I would be looking at this in a different way as opposed to just cutting hair. And so as he was talking about why he did it and how he wanted to do it and what it meant. And he was really talking about being a purpose-driven entrepreneur. That it wasn't just about how many heads I can get in here and cut. It really was, how do I create this place that serves as a communal purpose that is much bigger than just cutting hair? And the reason that's important because if you actually went around and calculated how many barber shops there are in Milwaukee, you can only name one, as he described it, that has been on all of the major networks. Because if they did not do what they did, they did not have that space, then the networks would not be calling him. He would not be on Good Morning America, on CBS, on NBC, and all these places, because it would not be the place that it actually became. So when he walks in, he sees it, he has a vision for it, and the vision went beyond just cutting hair. It was about creating a space and a place for folk to be able to meet and gather. And that's why I said, no, that's not a barbershop, that's literally a community center. He said, we've done everything here but have a wedding. And I said, you're probably gonna have one of those one day because somebody's gonna pay you to do it. And so I say that because I think for many folk, they start businesses with the wrong intention. Because if your whole focus is to make as much money as you can, and again, that's fine, there's going to come a point when you're doing that where you're not necessarily feeling it. Because that's actually not what wakes you up. It's what is the purpose, what is that you're doing? And so as we were talking last night, we began to talk about, because I've had people come to me in the last 6 years, and they're like, man, you really should do a raise. You should raise money. You should be able to do all the different things you want to do. And I said, no. And he said, well, why'd you say no? I said no because when I look at the media landscape and I look at what has happened in this country, and then I look at how certain things have happened, I said, do I want to be in a situation where I'm establishing a valuation at a certain number, and then now my whole focus every day is not on the work that I do, on the mission that I am involved in, it's actually trying to meet a valuation that somebody else established, and now I'm constantly chasing that. I said, see, if I'm spending most of my time with bankers and financial people and trying to sit here and, okay, what's the sales look like? And we're trying to hit this number to hit a certain valuation. I said, then I'm actually not focusing on the business. In fact, right before we even launched the show, it was very interesting. I had a meeting, and we were in this meeting, and we were talking to several people. And as they were talking, they were literally talking about, we could do this and do that, and then flip it and sell it. And I said, stop. We ain't built nothing yet. The conversation was literally about selling when nothing had even been built. And my focus was not on selling. I said, why am I starting a conversation about sale and we ain't even started nothing yet? We might want to build something to have something to sell. Because see, the motive was totally different. The reason I started Roland Martin Unfiltered and then Black Star Network was because I surveyed the landscape and I realized that we have a fundamental problem moving forward for Black America. What I saw was that Ebony had basically crashed, no longer was what Ebony was. Jet had gone out of business. Then I began to look at Black radio, I began to look at network television, began to look at magazines. And then I began to realize, and I said, wait a minute. I said, we are in a situation where in the next 10, 20, 30 years, we're gonna be asking somebody else to tell our story that don't know us, they have no cultural competence. And I said, that's gonna be a problem. Also, it was because Tom Joyner was retiring in December 2019, and I understood by being on that show for more than a decade, the role that it played, and I said, there has to be something that is different than what we're already seeing out here. And so when TV One, it was very interesting, when I sat in Alfred Liggins had called me to his office, the CEO of TV One, and CEO of Urban One, was the parent company of TV One. And I already known for months that we're talking about, well, do we keep it as a 5-day-a-week show, News One Now? Do we bring it down to a weekly? So we go into the room, and other executives thought he was going to take it from a 5-day-a-week show to a weekly, where we're sitting in there, and he literally says, I'm canceling the show. He then begins to explain to me why. They were refinancing their debt, and so wanted lower interest rate, and so they were cutting out a certain amount of money. Now, here's what was interesting, because as he is talking, as he is literally explaining to me, I'm already planning. Not one time, that was December 2017. Not one time since that I never felt like some people, man, was it a punch in the gut? I was like, I wasn't even thinking that. And in fact, after we met, one of our executives, we went to her office, and she said, I can't believe, because she thought they were going to make it a weekly. She said, I can't believe this would have happened. She says, what about you? And I was sitting in her office, and she's at her desk, and I'm looking at the wall, and she's talking. I said, I'm already beyond that. She's like, what? Like, we just walked out of the meeting. And he just said the show that you've had for the last 4 years has been canceled. I said, I know, I'm already planning. That literally was my mindset. And from that point on, and with the staff meeting, and folks were devastated, which I totally understand. And it wasn't that I had 8 more months of the contract, but I understood where I was trying to go, and I did not operate as if this was the be-all to end-all. I was like, cool, that thing ends, now what's the next thing? Because that's also the reality of life. And so as we're sitting there, and I began to plan this thing, what people didn't realize was that when I was at TV1, and then when I was also at CNN, I was actually buying equipment while I was there. I was already planning it. I knew exactly what I was going to do. So when the moment came, I already had the foundation of a business for our business, that is with your gear, because there's nothing worse than go, okay, something happens, you lose it, and then you're like, okay, dang, I gotta build everything from scratch, because while you were at another particular place, you weren't planning for what was next. And so people were looking at me trying to figure out, they were like, well, I don't understand why he is not tripping. And I wasn't tripping because, again, I'd already positioned for what was next, because I knew that was a end date on that particular thing. But again, it was purpose driven. So a couple of months ago, after the show ended, in fact, it was Victor, there were a bunch of people who were like, man, we want to meet with them. They were really upset. I was like, y'all, chill. That ain't gonna do nothing. You are trying to rekindle, or you're trying to get something out of old wineskins. I don't deal with something that's old. I said, focus on what we're doing that's new. And one of the folks who was really upset was Lee Saunders, who was the president and CEO of AFSCME. And so when the last day of the show, ended, an hour after the show ended, I was in Lee's office explaining to them what I was launching. 24 hours after that, I'm at DCA Airport. I don't call it Reagan Airport. It's DCA. Some of y'all gonna get that a little bit later. He calls me, he says, we're in. They were in as the first sponsor of the show, $250,000. We launched the show 8 months later. But it was mission driven because he invested in it because of the mission. And so then a couple months later, we did our State of the Union. A bunch of the members of Congress who were black were protesting Trump and the State of the Union. So I said, well, we're going to do our State of the Union. So we called a black church in D.C., said, let's do this thing. And so all of a sudden, they said, cool, let's do it. And so we put the whole thing together. And so I'm sitting here about an hour out, finish makeup, getting set. Then my phone rings. It says no call ID. And normally I don't answer no call ID. I'm like, you trying to hide from folk? And it's Tyler Perry. Now, mind you, I had met Tyler, but Tyler and I never had more than a red carpet conversation. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? He said, man, I'm sitting there watching some of your videos. Please tell me you are launching something. He said, because you are really our only voice out here. I said, well, Tyler, as a matter of fact, I am. And so we're sitting here, and I said, I'm literally about to go live in about an hour. And then he said, well, I can't go through what's happening right now, but you and I may be working together soon because I'm working on some things. And he was transitioning out of one of his deals, out of his Oprah deal into his new deal with Lionsgate in BET, which became something else. But again, he was saying that here's a moment. But remember, I was doing it because it was mission driven. I saw what was needed in the space. And it wasn't, again, just about how much money I can make. I was like, this is what the piece was. And see, and what's amazing about that is that when the folk who rock with you, who got your back, who say, wherever you go, we're going, they followed. In the 6 years we have had this show, my fan base has contributed about $3 million. Now, let me help you out. I don't send them swag. I literally said, let me explain something to y'all. I ain't sending you no hats, shirts, t-shirts, mugs, bags, tote bags, bumper stickers. I said, because all that stuff costs money. The postage costs money. We're going to take all the money that's going to go into the show. People like, cool. I'm proud out of the 31,000 donors, we've maybe had 100 people who've complained and they didn't get any swag. But what's amazing about this, and again, this is what happens when you're mission driven. I travel this country and people literally walk up and would press my hand with their donation. We were in Chicago broadcasting. We finished the show and we were on this patio, and this brother, I see him park, and he parks and he walks across the street and he walks up. He said, I wanted to make sure I put my donation in your hand. And I said, well, what's your name so I can put it? Because every Friday we run all the names of the donors. It used to be a short list. Now it takes about 9.5 minutes because we run all the names. He said, no, I'm good. I don't need my name mentioned. And then walked away, got back in his car and left. That happens all around the country. I had a woman in Atlanta airport. She said, she was the older sister. She said, baby, all I got is this $1, but I'm giving you. I said, no. She said, no, I need to give you this $1 because I need you to understand that what you are doing for our people matters, and I want to make sure that I'm contributing. The first check we got was from a 92-year-old sister in Long Island, New York. She said, I watched the show on TV One. I was devastated when it ended. She said, now my daughter follows you on Facebook because you play golf and she played golf, and she told me about this thing you started. So your voice matters. She said, so I've enclosed a $500 check. You don't get folk. I got 3 people who have tithed every month for 6 years. Every month, one woman sends $50, another woman sends $100. Cheryl sends $50, Lisa sends $100. Every month. That doesn't happen if it's not mission driven. And so the reason I wanted to open with that question, because when you think about great business folks and entrepreneurs, and I want y'all, we're going to think about it right now. If you think about amazing entrepreneurs, do any of you know what their net worth was when they died? No. Because you don't think about what their net worth was or is. You remember what they did. Folk ain't remembering what your net worth is, but they are remembering what you created. They are remembering what you built. They're remembering what it actually did for people. And that has to be the state of mind, I believe, for any entrepreneur in any area. Are you a mission-driven entrepreneur? Are you doing something to help people that can make their lives better, that can improve their lives? Or are you in this thing solely for a check? Because I dare to say, if it's only for a check, you will not have the satisfaction that you actually are seeking. And if we have more mission-driven entrepreneurs, I also believe we will have more businesses that are growing and building in a different way, because it's serving a different purpose. Because there's nothing more powerful to me when I travel this country, and not just for the folk who make donations, but I'm talking about for people who literally say, when a brother, I'm at MGM in National Harbor, and I'm about to leave, and so I'm about to quote here, so some of y'all a little scared with language, just pray, it's all good. So I'm just walking out, and the brother's like, yo, Roland Martin, I fucks with you. And I was like, okay, like, we're in a casino. Shh. He like really loud. He's like, no, you could ask my girl. And I was like, okay, all right. Like, we could. He's like, no, you don't understand. Then he goes, if anybody fucks with you, I got you. Y'all, it's a true story. I'm not lying. So I go, bro, I appreciate that. He goes, no, you don't understand what I'm talking about. So my man reaches down. I was like, oh, hell no. He is not about to show me. He pulls his shirt up, and all I see is scar tissue. So his chest had been cracked from the top of from here to his belly button. He went, anybody fucks with you, I got you. I was like, noted. Now some of y'all might be like, that's crazy. But I need you to understand where he was coming from. The number of people who have been in prison who have said, bruh, I got through prison watching you. A brother stopped me, he said, he had a wife beat on, gold teeth in his mouth, a pick in his hair. He's like, yo, you that news dude? I said, yeah. He said, you got mad respect on the yard. Now mind you, I was leaving my dentist's office. We're not far from Howard. He was not talking about Howard. He was talking about the prison yard. Why was it so important to start it? Ron Lester, I had him on Tom Joyner, he called me up. He told me, he said, man, the guy driving me said when they were in prison and the prison took TV One off the cable, he said they acted a fool for a week to put it back on. He said, because they were watching your show. So when TV One cancels the show, the brothers were not trying to watch more repeats of the Jeffersons. They were trying to be fed. So when you understand what your purpose is, and when you understand how to walk in your purpose, then you begin to understand that this thing ain't just about you. What you are doing is impacting somebody else's life. And when I have, again, prisoners, when I've had young folk, when I've had a sister said that, man, when you on Tom Joyner, if I got to school, woman said if I got to school too early, my daughter will make me go around the block one more time before your segment is over. And the next day, on the Monday, I shouted her out on the show, and I said, Tom, I met this 13-year-old girl, and she said this, and I got an email, thanks for the shout out, but I'm 12. And so when you begin to understand when you're an entrepreneur and you build something and you realize how it's impacting somebody's life, how your product is making somebody's life different, a mother or a father or a son or a daughter, then you begin to understand that there's no amount of money that can actually satisfy your soul when somebody shares with you what you are doing means to them and their family. And so when a sister hits me up and she says, man, I love your show, but I can't watch your show. I was like, well, why? She said, because my mama was dying in the last 6 months. She said, when she was in pain, I would climb into the hospital bed and we would watch your show together. And she said, so it's hard for me to turn your show on without start crying and thinking about my mama. When you begin to hear a sister come up to me and she said, she gave me a blanket in Birmingham, Alabama. She said, I'm homeschooled and my mama watches your show and I need you to know for the last 5 years, you've been my history teacher. It ain't about the money from advertising or for political campaigns. It means that what we do every single day when we wake up and when we're covering things and talking to people, we understand that we are literally changing somebody's life. We're altering somebody's life. When somebody tells me, man, I was thinking about doing this one thing, but after watching that, my mind was changed. And the brother said, I went to college because of what you were talking about. When somebody says, I ran for office and now I've won, I'm a city council member, because you explaining politics, then you begin to understand that when they said the show is over and God said, it's all good, I got something else for you, that's mission driven. And so the lesson for every single one of us leaving here, whether you're black or white or Latino or Asian or Native American, man, woman, gay, straight, doesn't matter, you should be asking yourself, leaving here, what's the mark
that I want to leave? Do I want to have a business that when it's no longer here or I'm no longer here, nobody will miss it? Because even though there are folk who are sitting in this room and you may have a business and you may do things, the reality is some of us will leave here and will leave invisible footprints and invisible fingerprints. But how are you impacting somebody's life? How are you changing somebody's life? When they ended that TV One show, our makeup artist, she says, Roland, thank you. She said, I gotta thank you. I said, well, why? She said, because one, you fought to make sure black people got hired. Now let me explain that. In the business that we are in, you will rarely see black folk in the makeup room, even trying to do makeup for black people. You will see few black hairstylists. You will see few black photographers. And so I said, listen, I want everybody to participate, but I can't be in a business in a black-owned network and we don't actually pay black people. And I need somebody who understands black skin. So she said, I gotta thank you. I said, well, why? She said, because of this job. I said, okay. She says, I need you to know that because of this job, I bought my first house. She said, I became a homeowner because you advocated to say, no, she got to get hired. But here's what's amazing. Because of creating the opportunity, this same sister, by doing the makeup on our show and all the entertainers and other people coming through, well, they'll be like, well, Sharon, you do a good job. I got a concert. So she was picking up outside opportunities by virtue of being on the show. And by her doing the makeup for all those folk, then when Biden made an historic appointment, they called her to do Ketanji Brown Jackson's makeup when she was going through her confirmation hearings. And then after she was confirmed to the Supreme Court, when Vogue magazine had Ketanji Brown Jackson in this spread in Vogue magazine, Sharon's name is right there because she did the makeup for Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. So if the opportunity is not created, she can't get hired. If she can't get hired, she can't get other clients. If she can't get other clients, she doesn't do the makeup for the first black female Supreme Court justice in United States history. So if it's not mission driven, that doesn't happen. And so what we do doesn't just impact me and my family, it now impacts other families. It now impacts other folks' children. It now impacts generations. And so when it's mission driven, it goes beyond your bank account, and all of a sudden now it begins to impact other people. And so if we begin to think totally different about how we are moving and operating as entrepreneurs and business owners, we're building things, we're building businesses. It won't just touch us and impact us. There's going to be a child of a child who you will never ever meet, who will say, thank God that my mother or my father connected with that business owner in 2024 or 2025, and what you do today, providing opportunities, will make it possible for somebody to be able to go to college, for somebody to be able to start their business, for somebody to be able to buy their own home or buy their first home. I need you to understand that this thing is not just about you and your pocketbook and how you feel. You, if you are mission driven, can literally change the bloodlines of people who are flowing through your business, and you may then be creating another entrepreneur, another business owner who will do the exact same thing because they'll be modeling your behavior. I'll close with this. I don't worry about what other folk got. I've got fraternity brothers who I've ridden on private planes with. I remember One of them was the agent for Cam Newton. We had an ice storm on the East Coast. He said, listen, I'm going to the game. You want to fly with me? Okay, sure. So I fly to Carolina with him for the game. Well, he had to go to Atlanta. We were supposed to go to New York. He had to go to Atlanta for a meeting. So I was like, well, damn, now we stuck in Charlotte. Well, we at the game, and I'm talking to Michael Strahan and Terry Bradshaw. Michael is flying back to New York on his plane. All right, I got to go to New York. So I fly to Charlotte on LaMel's plane, and I flew to New York on Michael's plane. Now, I know some people who get in their feelings like, oh my God, I got to have that. I'm good. I ain't got no problem going back on Southwest. I'm not tripping on what somebody else got. Somebody asked me, they were like, well, man, but don't you want, I was like, y'all, I'm good. I said, I've had a 10,000 square foot house, 6,000. I said, my parents right now live in my house in the Dallas suburbs, 2,500 square foot, paid off the same very house that I had to file bankruptcy for that I now own. I said, if I got to go back to that, I'm good. Why am I saying that? It's because I'm not driven by some other measurement that actually don't mean nothing. It literally means nothing. Having the financial flexibility and freedom to do what I do is great. Having no debt in my business is great because I can make decisions that otherwise I cannot do. But what I'm not doing every day is fixating on trying to hit some asset that I can't take with me. And so what I do every day is, how can we make somebody's life better? How can we change somebody's life? How can we improve somebody's life? How can we provide them with information that matters? Every Tuesday on our show on Marketplace, I feature Black-owned businesses that otherwise could not even get the attention. And we've had businesses on the show that have come on the show and Rock Deep Global, they've sold 20,000 worth of shoes in 24 hours. And a black shampoo company sold out all of their stock in 48 hours. And we've had a sister who makes pots, and we got a sister who owns a dog company, all different businesses. And somebody said to me, they said, man, but you giving folk free advertising. Why are you not charging them for this? I said, well, because that's not why I created it. I said, now, it's on them if they decide to invest back. That's not on me. I said, I created the platform and the opportunity for them to be able to do what they do. When that is your motive, when that drives you, then you are able to look back in that very moment that everybody has to face. What did I do with the opportunity and the platform that God created for me? What did I do with it? Who did I impact? How did I help them? Who did I assist? If it's all about being selfish in you, well, God bless you. But I can guarantee you, when that day comes and the folks say, do y'all remember so-and-so? Do you remember the place they had? And do you remember when we didn't have this and they helped and they provided and this and that? See, those stories are the ones that folk will be talking about years and years and decades. They will not be talking about what your personal net worth is. They will be talking about what your self-worth was.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call real talk. There's not but one Roland Martin, and we are grateful and we appreciate what he has done worldwide for so many people. And he's never changed. He continues to remain the same. Can we celebrate one more time? The one and only. I believe it's time to take a short break, and then afterwards, there'll be 2 sessions going on. One for educators in the Juno room across the hallway, and then I'm sorry. Oh, we're gonna go on. Thank you. You know, she's really the boss. They just put me up here. Can we do the video presentation? Okay, thank you. Dr. Shepherd. And I want to tell you something about Dr. Shepherd right before his video. This man is phenomenal. I mean, literally. Well, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let him speak for himself. But I tell you, I love Dr. Shepherd.
As you look at your personal checklist of self-care, where does assessing your mental health rank? Our emotional health can either be a driver or determinant to our productivity, effectiveness, and influence. Recognizing the opportunity to improve ourselves holistically is a distinct step for leaders who want sustainable success. If you struggle with finding balance, answering internal curiosities around gaining your peace, and identifying ways to avoid your fire turning into burnout, lean in and listen close to the voice of an expert whose career is a pursuit to improve the well-being and mental health outcomes of children and adults by providing evidence-based, culturally responsive, and trauma-informed care. Dr. Shepherd is board certified and studied at the University of Illinois at Chicago Medical School. He also attended the Johns Hopkins Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Fellowship and was recognized as a fellow of the American Psychiatric Association in 2020 and distinguished fellow by the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry in 2019. In February of 2023, Dr. Shepherd was inducted into the American College of Psychiatrists, a prestigious honor bestowed by his fellow psychiatric colleagues. In a world where users are seeking valuable support in vulnerable spaces, Dr. Shepherd is known for his ability to connect by developing treatment plans that honor a patient's background and personal experiences and will have the greatest impact on mental health. Strategies he will offer are those of insightful design made for your well-being. He also works as the Chief Clinical Officer for the Department of Behavioral Health for the entire District of Columbia, responsible for the development, management, and oversight of public behavioral health for adults, children, and their families. Dr. Shepherd serves on numerous boards and participates in several organizations that impact and shape the programs for the mental well-being of persons in diverse settings and various communities. He also serves as the president of the board of directors of the Black Mental Health Alliance, a nonprofit organization that advocates for the mental health needs of the African American community. Get ready to hear from an industry leader, a consensus change agent in the field of psychiatry with a heart for all. Let's welcome Dr. Jonathan Shepherd.
Thank you for that introduction, and I appreciate being on this platform. Let me just get a couple things out the way, and then I'll be able to be clear-minded, be able to center. I am grateful to God, first of all. I am grateful to God, who is the head of my life. But I want to thank the Daniels family. I must do that. The Daniels family provided a platform for me when I was in residency. And Bishop Daniels, Bishop Cedric Daniels, who I miss terribly, and provided a platform for me when I was just beginning how to be able to incorporate the spirituality along with the mental health and some of the physical health aspects. He invited me to come, and then Commissioner Hattie Daniels Rush, miss her also, and she began to incorporate me into some of the educational and professional development things. And then the queen, as I've already said, what has already been said today, Dr. Valerie Daniels Carter. I appreciate you so much. I just got to get all that out the way in order to be able to go forward because, as Mr. Roland Martin was just saying, you want to make sure that you give back to the people who have invested in you. And the Daniels family has invested in me. And so I tell you, it is an honor to stand before you all today on this platform to talk about my passion, what drives me, what gets me up in the morning. Yes, I am a physician, and thank God I am a physician. Thank God I got the debt to show it to. Amen. I will take up an offering if somebody want to. I got just about 41,000 to go to be done. But I will say this: what wakes me up in the morning is not the paycheck. What wakes me up in the morning is knowing that God has given me another chance to help somebody live the best life that they can live, mentally and emotionally. And so I want to thank you all, and let me get going here. I got all that out the way, so now I'm ready to go to work. Yeah, I feel my energy. I feel my help here. Let's go to the slides because we have some work to do today. I will not go through everything. I do have another opportunity tomorrow to share with you on a more individual basis. So we're going to talk about staying lit, all right? Staying lit. Now, we don't had lunch. We don't heard from Mr. Roland Martin, so I know it's going to be kind of hard to come, but trust me, I want to keep you all lit up in here today. Staying lit, and we're going to learn how to navigate corporate fatigue and emotional stress successfully. All right, that's me. All right, keep on going. Here are our objectives, 4 objectives. Anytime I speak, I want to make sure, I don't care how well I do or how bad I do, but I don't plan to do bad. If I have not covered the objectives, if you cannot go back and say Shepherd did not hit all 4 of those objectives, then it was a fail. So I want to make sure that we hit those 4 objectives right there that's in front of you, discussing the positive effects of living holistically, introducing the 10 steps to move from stability to wholeness, strategies to manage stress, and then identifying methods to protect a person's baseline and live balanced lives. All right. Repeat this saying after me. Stars are born out of pressure. All right, a little bit louder. Stars are born out of pressure, but can burn out due to pressure. Yep. So let's look at this. As I was preparing for this, had a wonderful example that just happened just this past week. And the theme, and you'll hear the thread that goes through here, fatigued yet performing. Fatigued yet performing. Now, I don't know if anybody in here knows who this player is. I know I'm in Milwaukee, and I know y'all are a huge football fan team. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You all are mostly fans of the team that we used to hate in Chicago. Yeah, but I know we have some Green Bay Packers fans up in here. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Jordan Love is on my fantasy football team. Now look at this, look at this, look at this. We have this quarterback here who just played on this past Sunday. His name is Anthony Richardson, black quarterback. And he was playing and had just gotten hit after a play. He was running around. If anybody follows football knows that he's been injured a couple weeks. And he went back into the game. And he got winded. And he tapped the top of his helmet and said, I need to come out of the game. They said, I was tired. So you go look at you can follow it up. It's been huge in the sports world the last 2 days, last 3 days. And so here you hear the head coach saying, Anthony Richardson knows he can't sub out for being tired amid criticism. The leader of the team got tired, tapped out, said, I need to sit this one out, coach. Coach got mad. He did take him out, put Joe Flacco up in there, got mad, and was like, what is happening up in here? How you gonna sit out a play? And so if you go online, commentary was all over the place. They call him weak, they call him soft. They call him all types of names because he got tired and fatigued from playing. Next slide. I'm going somewhere. I had to give an example of a male, now I'm going to give an example of a female. Fatigued, yet performing. We remember in 2021, right? Tokyo Olympics, where the renowned Simone Biles had to stop because she had what was called the twisties. Basically, she had an issue with her mental well-being, and she could not perform up to the par that she knows that she's able to do. So she said, I had to sit this out, coach. I have to focus on my mental health. After she withdrew from the gold medal events. Here's a question I have for you. Y'all ready for it? How do you handle fatigue when your team is dependent on you? That's the question. That's the thought-provoking question. I really want to lay my groundwork for what I want to talk about during these next 40-some minutes or whatnot. How do you handle fatigue when your team is dependent on you? I want you to close your eyes right now, just visually. And just close your eyes. For me, it's visual. I'm looking at you. And I want you to, if you can see me, that means your eyes not closed. I know what I'm saying. Close your eyes. I know what I'm saying. Close your eyes. And think about the most recent issue or trouble or crisis you just had, where you got fatigued. I'm talking to leaders, right? I'm talking to entrepreneurs. It shouldn't take long for most of us. And for some of you, keep your eyes closed. Nobody's going to take anything from you. It should raise, you should probably even have some type of bodily sensations. Some of y'all start squirming in your seat a little bit. Blood pressure kind of raising up. What I want you to do now, you got that in? I want you now to take a deep breath in, hold it, and now let it out. 2 more times. Keep your eyes closed. Breathe in. Oh, don't choke on the air now. I love the laugh, y'all, so I let it out. One more time, so we do everybody together now. Breathe in. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, and let it out. Let me tell you what that does for you. When you're in the middle of a crisis, you have just learned how to reset your body so you do not respond in a way that you will end up making a poor decision because you have not sat and breathed and thought about what is happening around you. What am I saying? Most decisions, most haphazard decisions that people will make is within the first 90 seconds of what that thing has happened in your life. We took just about, close to about a minute. Take that time. I know you mad at your child for coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning. I know you mad because the person went above your head when they were supposed to come to you first in your corporation to ask for some more money. I know you mad, pastors, that they didn't come and tell you something was going to happen beforehand, and you ready to, just let it all. Take some time to breathe and to reset. God gave us our respiratory system that really helps to reset our minds just that easily. All right? I wanted just to show that to you. All right? And you can do that even when you're fatigued. All right, I know where I'm at. Say with me, we are human beings. Did y'all go to sleep on me? I need to hear you. Some of y'all done got real rested. Say with me, we are human beings, not human doings. We are human beings, not human doings. I was just reading in the Word this morning in meditation in Psalm 8, I believe it was. That's why I have my journal. I believe it's Psalm 8. Yeah, Psalm 8, verse 3 and 34. It talks about how God is mindful of us as human beings. That God loves us, like he is that concerned about you as a human being, not about what you do, but about who you are. Isn't that powerful? That God is concerned about who I am and not what I do. I want you to be concerned. Just look at, and I know Roland had you looking at your neighbor. I'm going to do the same thing. Look at your neighbor and just say, hey, neighbor, God's concerned about you. And not about what you do. All right, next slide. So this is the definition of mental health. Again, laying a groundwork here, and want you all to see this definition. This is a definition given by the World Health Organization. Many people heard about the World Health Organization, especially during COVID. As they set the guidelines for how to be able to handle COVID across the world. Mental health means a state of well-being where every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and make a contribution to his or her community. Wow. It is nothing mystical, because when people talk about mental health, Shepherd, don't talk to me about mental health. Oh my God, it's too much, it's too much. Or even people would demonize it, or it's just, mental health is very clear. And if you don't remember it, I have shepherdized it for you. PCWC. Say with me, PCWC. It's still too low. I like to hear people. PCWC. P stands for potential. Say with me, potential. Cope. Work. Contribution. Those are the 4 tenets of mental health. Anytime that you're talking about mental health, it should lie within those 4 tenets. Number 1 is potential. Potential speaks to the untapped skills and possibilities that lie within you. That's why we were here. I gotta tell you, the Daniels family, their mental health must be on 100 because they are concerned about the untapped skills and possibilities of people. This is why Dr. Valerie Daniels Carter created this. She didn't realize it was about mental health also, or maybe she did, but it's untapped skills and possibilities, the potential, the power to win. Then cope means that you're able to move through your issue with success. Say with me, with success. Because there are people who are moving through their issues, but they are not successful. They cope, but they use the wrong things to cope. Oh, I hear it up in here. Do I gotta give you some examples? Come on here. Some of y'all use food to cope. I knew y'all didn't like that example. I knew y'all weren't gonna like that example. Now we messing, I know. Oh my God, let me eat this whole quart of ice cream. No one the doctors told you got diabetes. It makes it make me feel good. I'm just coping with this stress. Wait a minute. The gas station fried chicken we just talked about. I mean, we just just cope. But when you are in good mental health, you understand your potential, and then you understand how to cope and what you need to cope. Number 3, you work, and Mr. Martin just talked about that. A lot of us, we work, but we're not working according to our purpose or design. When you got this good up here and when you straight up here, you don't have to worry about comparing yourself. You're mission driven. So that's why I worry sometimes about people's mental health. I do get concerned, even some people who are popular, because I be wondering, like, man, where's your mission? What's driving you? When I wake up in the morning, literally, I get up. Yes, I am tired at times, but I get up because I know that it's another day where I can fulfill God's calling for my life. Do I feel like always PCWC? No, I don't. Let's be real. I'm the doctor type, but no, I be like, God, do I have? But I understand that it's bigger than me. When you're a leader, and I'm talking to leaders, you have to understand that the stuff that you do is bigger than you. But you cannot allow those things to take you out. That's why I'm talking up here, because some of you are operating fatigued, and yet you're still trying to perform, and it's not working. That part, right, yeah. Yeah. And then the last part, I know where I'm at, last C is contribution. When you understand your mental health, you make a contribution to your community. I don't understand people who don't make contributions to your community. Again, thank you, Daniel's family. You have shown us a perfect example of how to do that. When you are operating in good mental health, PCWC, I had to spend a little time there to make sure, because too many people get it wrong. This is the definition of mental health. You can take it. You can say, I got it shepherdized. I got it officially shepherdized. PCWC. P stands for? I don't hear you. P stands for? C stands for? W. C. Wonderful. Oh, I hear it. Now, here's some definitions real quick. Fatigue. I'm going to take this mic. I like to walk too much. Fatigue, weariness or exhaustion from labor, exertion, or stress. That's fatigue. State of attitude or indifference, apathy brought on by overexposure. There's also a tendency of material to break under repeated stress. Wow. Let me just deal with that real quick. 2 things. Apathy. I talk a lot about, since the pandemic, I talk about the 3 A's. The pandemic really did a number on us as human beings. And it caused 3 things to happen, 3 A's. Anger, anxiety, and apathy. You will see it all over in your companies, wherever people are angry. It don't take, cut somebody off. See what happened. I had somebody follow me. I'm on my way to church, trying to serve the Lord. Trying to serve the Lord. I'm driving at 70 on a Sunday, and I was driving to 70, and they say I'm driving too slow. Literally followed me for 2 miles. I don't know what they plan to do. I ain't got none. I mean, but literally followed me because I was driving too slow. Anxious. People are so anxious. If somebody starts sneezing up in here, I guarantee you half the room gonna leave. Lord, I came to exhale and got COVID, Lord. Because it's all in our minds. We're so anxious. We are. Oh, I know, yes. People are very anxious. And then the last one is apathy. What does that mean? That means people don't care as much. or don't care at all. People just, they've lost all sense of, very indifferent. Oh, I could go. I don't have to go to work. I've never seen so many people where people don't want to go to work. I ain't talking about telework. I'm talking just don't want to go to work. Yeah, interviews and people just don't, I ain't going to the interview. I'm here waiting for you to show up. We made it convenient for you on Teams or Zoom. Don't even show up. Just indifferent. I don't know if you've experienced that, leaders, entrepreneurs. Yeah, there's 3 A's. And then what happens is when people are so fatigued, they begin to break under the pressure. And I'm very concerned about people and how they break under the pressure right now, because they don't take that much now. People used to be able to take stuff. They can't take nothing now. You say something, huh? Oh yeah. This is what we're dealing with as leaders. This is what I'm seeing in my office. This is what I'm seeing on a consistent basis. Let's go to those next definitions there. Stress. Stress is something, is a state of worry or mental tension caused by a difficult situation. All right, everybody gonna have stress. Say with me, everybody. Say with me, everybody. Gonna have stress. We don't live stress-free lives. All right? Your body wasn't even designed that way. Physiologically, you have different, what we call neurotransmitters in your body to handle the stress. If a lion walked in this room, you would not go over there to pet it. Oh my God, that's a wonderful creature that God created. No, I guarantee you, fight or flight will, it ain't about Daniel the lion's den and all this. Y'all deep folk, you better get up out of here. I'm gone. I'm gonna create a door if I have to get, yeah. Folks, stress is real. And we as human beings will have stress. And then last one is burnout. Say with me, I cannot. I need you to say a little bit louder. Avoid burnout. Wow. I'm going to say it one more time. I cannot avoid burnout. Why is that? Because some people, some of y'all are struggling with that. I know you are. I know you're struggling with it because I had to struggle with it myself and said, well, Shepherd, that's not what they asked for. They said they want prevention of burnout. And then I had to get a good dose of reality. I said, wait a minute, I'm a human being. Human beings get burned out. And so I'm going to talk about how to determine whether or not you burned out or not. But it's just like grief. You cannot avoid grief. The only way to avoid grief is not love someone. Hear me clearly on that. The only way you avoid grief is you decide not to love. That's the only way. If you're going to love someone, you're going to grieve. So don't tell me to get over something. Don't get over grief. You don't get over grief. You manage grief. I learned this lesson when my 7-year-old nephew died after a 6-day illness in 2020. One of the most devastating things that I would ever experience in my life. And I had to preside over the service. And so we're looking at 1,100 people, and I'm grieving and had to, I didn't deliver the eulogy, but I'm presiding over the service to keep the service lively. And I'm hurting. And the Lord really had to minister to me and said, Shepherd, you don't get over grief. You learn how to manage grief to where it doesn't take over your life. And that it's because you loved him. So it's the same thing with burnout. If you're a human being, you're going to get to the point to where you are physically tired. I don't know anybody here supernatural beings. Are you? Please show me. Oh, she's going to raise her hand. I mean, you got all white. I don't know. I told y'all I love to laugh, y'all. But I'm just saying, all of us have physical bodies that will all get tired, and we cannot avoid burnout. All right, let me keep going here. All right, say with me, you cannot burn out A little bit louder. You cannot burn out until you catch on fire. Now, if I was in the holiness church, you sing that. I wish somebody's soul would catch on fire. But see, they sing those songs and whatnot, but what they didn't tell you is that when you catch on fire, you're at risk for burnout. You're not at risk, you're gonna burn out. You have to realize you catch on fire. Let me just go ahead and say it. I've been trying to hold it. There are some people, Lord help me to say it the way I want to say it. There are some people, you don't have to worry about them being burned out because they ain't committed. One of the major ways in which you know leaders that people are burned out is that they are committed to something. But if they're not committed, if you can't get them to come to work consistently, oh, I'm tired. Wait a minute, you can't be tired. You only been to work 1 day out of 5 days. No, I'm serious. People are using this term burnout and they're using it wrong. In order to be burnt out, you have to be committed. That is a prerequisite. Say with me, prerequisites. Absolutely. Let's move forward. So here's burnout explained, all right? Burnout explained. Here's a definition of it, all right? Burnout occurs when passionate, committed people become deeply disillusioned with a job or career from which they have previously derived much of their identity and meaning. All right? So as you see, I underlined there, passionate, committed. So the first requirement for being burned out is passionate and committed. All right? Does that make sense? So what's the first criteria? Oh, see, are y'all with me? One more time. What's the first criteria? That's right. And then the second one is being deeply disillusioned. What does that mean? That means that as you are working in whatever field it is, whatever career it is, you get to a point to where your view gets off. How you see things gets skewed. So that means that, I don't think I have enough time to do a demonstration today. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I have a demonstration where I literally have people put on my eyeglasses and they walk a certain length of the line, and I have them walking towards something. And what I have them walking toward is I say a promise or whatever it may be. But what I realize is that when they put my glasses on, they can never walk straight to get to where their destination is. Why they can't do that is it's not because they haven't the strength to do it, it's because their vision is off. When you get fatigued, such as Simone Biles, such as Anthony Richardson, such as yourself, you have to take time to make sure that you're not making some crucial decisions during that time. Because many times your vision is off, is skewed. Sometimes I wonder, Shepherd, why did you make, I was tired. How many of y'all eating something? And you know you're not supposed to eat it. I love saying about food. I love food, that's why. And you knew you weren't supposed to eat it, but because y'all was tired, you weren't thinking, and that's bam. Oh, man, I got to start that diet over again. Man, I got to do this. You have to be careful of what you do when you're burnt out, when you're fatigued, because your vision will get skewed. Does that make sense? So it comes when things come at you and will strip away your enthusiasm. So I'm leaving here charged. I've had some wonderful conversations already. I've been challenged. I've been told you behind because you should have written your book by now. Oh, Jesus, I've been convicted. I've been just all that, right up here at this table, right?
But it's challenged me. But when all these different things keep stripping away at your enthusiasm, it leaves you fatigued. Now, I'll do one more illustration, I'm gonna move forward. Say with me, flames versus fumes. Flames catch on fire, right? If you know anything about a pilot light in a stove, what happens when it goes out? Fumes. That's exactly what happens when you are burnt out. The flame has gone out, but people still smell you. They smell you. And fumes are toxic. Fumes are toxic. When you are burnt out and don't realize that your flame has gone out and you're running on fumes, you become toxic in the environment that you operate and work in. Leaders, hear me clearly. You must recognize when it's time to sit down so that you don't become toxic to the people that you work with. When you get to that point, you can't blame nobody else. And then be open to hearing when people tell you, I smell something. Just add a little humor, make y'all, so y'all remember. I smell something. And and it's just like, yeah. Something like gas. Yeah. And so you want to be careful that you don't get to that point. The thing I love about fumes, though, fumes know how to catch back on fire real quickly. So don't sit here, well, he's talking negative. No, you could be a fume, but the thing I love about fumes is they are combustible. And they know how to catch back on fire real quickly, but they have to be relit. That's why this conference is so important, because thank you, Lord. No, I'm not in church. I just felt the Holy Ghost. But I'm being relit, y'all. And I hope you are too. I want you to catch back on fire. All right, let's move forward. I don't have no time to spend there. All right. I know, right? Visual. I love visual. I'm a visual person. A picture tells 1,000 words, so I don't have to really even say too much more, right? Just ask, is that you? All right, I won't even have you turn to your neighbor and say, is that you up there? Next slide. Here's some of the symptoms of burnout, and I will have my slides available for you. You all can read those things. But these are some of the signs and symptoms of burnout, and you will find yourself in some of these things at some point in your life. Say with me, I cannot avoid burnout. And some of y'all really don't want to say it, because some of y'all really believe that you can. I'm not sure how. The same God created me, and I got to take a break. Even Jesus, when he lived on earth, I know it's not a church, but he did walk and take some time. These CEOs, let me tell you, they don't be up in there working 52 weeks. No, I know they don't, because I work with them. We taking time off, to go replenish, regenerate ourselves. So these are some of the things. Let me just mention a couple, one or two, and I'll keep on moving. Cynicism, anger, irritability. You wonder why certain people always got something to say, and just negative. Like, man, can they get off my team? can you just fire them? Just, man, go. But they be right back there the next day. These are some symptoms of burnout, you all. Lower immunity, falling sick more often. You'll find yourself catching colds. You'll find yourself being sick more often when you are burned out. So that's why you have to take care of your physical body. It's absolutely. Let me tell you another one that's on here. It's not on the slide like I want it to be, but the inability to say no. People who have the inability to say no normally are burned out because you have a hard time deciphering when to say yes or no. So you just say yes to everything, and you find yourself overwhelmed, being burnt out. So inability to say no. Next slide. So these are the stages, the 12 stages of burnout, and I'll go through some of them. I know I'm up against Dr. Valerie Daniels Carter tomorrow. So I know where y'all will be, but just in case y'all want to come back, tomorrow we can talk a little bit more and dive into this a little bit more. But these are the 12 stages of burnout. This is so important to catch a hold of because there are stages of it. You just don't lapse into it one day. You normally build up to it, all right? And that's why number 1 is so important, the compulsion to prove oneself. A lot of people who want to prove themselves. And since we're talking about the marketplace, many times people want to prove themselves because they've been disappointed in other areas. They've been disappointed at home. They've been disappointed in other places where they could not achieve. So the 12 stages of burnout are right there. Let me keep moving here. There's a couple of just references to some scriptures in the Bible, since I know we have a mixed crowd here, and I just wanted to make sure that you know that even you can find in the Word about people who are fatigued but yet performing. And let me say this, I want to say this out loud. The number 1 enemy to Christian transformation is exhaustion. I'm going to say that again, and then I have the data to prove it. The number 1 enemy to Christian transformation, that's people living out what God has called for them to do, is exhaustion. David is a perfect example of that. I'll just bring up one of those examples when in chapter 30 of 1 Samuel, when he got back and found out that the Amalekites had gone and taken all his stuff, the women, the children, and everything was gone. And his men, it was 600 of them, and they was ready to kill him. It's like, we don't need you. We do it bad by ourselves. Like, how you gonna let the enemy come and take all of our stuff? And they were gonna kill David because they were exhausted from fighting. They were so emotional that they didn't even realize what they were about to do. They were about to kill the man who had protected them all that time in the wilderness just because they had lost everything and they were ready to kill him dead. Isn't that something? And the last thing about that, continuing on down, thankfully they had enough sense not to kill the man, Lord Jesus. And then David got the word and the promise that to go and pursue them. He's going to recover it all. And, if you're in church, folks they be going to town on that one. They be shouting everything. I don't shout off that one. I'll be honest with you. Because I know the rest of the story. The rest of the story, to me, is even more powerful because when they got to a place called Brook Besor, and I've been teaching on this a lot, when they got to the place called Brook Besor, it's a destination where 200 of the 600 had to fall out because they were tired. This is the question. I realize my time is running out here. How do you handle fatigue when the people are looking for you to lead out into a crisis? They got to the brook and they couldn't fight no more. God gave a promise. So God didn't lie. They had no more fight in them. Can you sit out after God gave you a promise? Oh, it's so quiet up in here. That's why you had 400 other men. And let me tell you, the 200, I wish I could sit and talk to them just to wonder, what was it that caused you to be so fatigued? Why is it that you had no more strength to go further, even though you knew the purpose that you had? I want to challenge you all. Man, I feel the Holy Ghost up in. I'm sorry for those who, but I don't apologize. There's some people up in here right now, you're hearing me under the sound of my voice. And you've been wondering, God, why is it that I can't accomplish the victory that I know that you gave to me? Is it because you need to go somewhere and sit yourself down? I'm not Roland Martin, all right? Make sure you're all up in here. Ah, man. I love you, brother. I love you, brother. I know. I ain't about to come. But is it because we have not sat down to refresh ourselves? This weekend, I need you to look at a couple things. I'm going to come into my conclusion slide here. Again, we have some more time tomorrow to talk about this, because I feel some of y'all tugging on me right now. I really do. I feel you tugging. And some of you all, and I talked with a few other people about superficial stuff. I'm just hitting some of the superficial stuff. There's some stuff underneath the surface that some of us are dealing with, of why we're fatigued. And we need some more time to go underneath the surface to get it up so that we can continue the fight on to get to the promise that David had. Slide, please. We work from a place of rest. We don't rest from work. Say with me. We work from a place of rest. We don't rest from work. How many of us can truly say that? And then Mark 2:27 backs that up. This is where I'll spend my last couple moments. I need you to look at this list here. There's 10 things. I need you to pick 2 of those 10 things to begin to work on for the rest of this year. Just 2. Say with me, 2. I need you to pick 2. Thank you. She's going to repeat everything I say. That's the supernatural over there now. 2 other 10 things on here to reset mentally. Because I really feel, I'm feeling this tug from the people in here that this is what's needed. And these are some practical steps to get you back to be able to reset mentally, so that when you're going through your time of burnout or fatigue, this is what helps restore you back. RIG, rest in God time, prayer and meditation. When I give these lectures now, Dr. Carter, I'm at medical schools, medical institutions. I don't change that number 1. No, I'm very clear about that. I let the people know, prayer and meditation. That's how I got that. I told you I was even meditating this morning. Can I just be transparent? The Lord had to do a number on me in this year, 2024. It said, Shepherd, you're not praying enough. He said, you're not praying enough. There's some things that, and then not only did he make sure that he took some stuff away from me in some areas that I normally am strong in to make sure that I trusted him. This has been a very difficult year for me. I ain't gonna lie, and it really has. There's been some major challenges I've had to deal with personally. And I may not look like it, but let me tell you, this stuff I'm talking about, I'm living it out. I'm living it out. And so are you. I stand here not to say that I've achieved this. I stand here today to let you know that you can do it. That's why I stand. So we practiced the relaxation breathing already, using your shower time. Amen, because people were not clean during the pandemic. I'm just saying, it's just, so use your shower time. God really speaks to me in the shower. He really does. A lot of ideas that I get, and again, the Holy Spirit represents water. And so we have to know that using your shower time and washing is a very personal time with God. Exercise. Amen. That's not a 4-letter word. That's not a bad word. Exercise. Physically move. Proper sleep schedule. Go to bed. Sleep. Some people don't want to sleep. I don't know what that's about. I always got to work. No, go to bed. Eat healthy as often as you can. Thank you for the wonderful lunch today. Stay socially connected. Most of us don't have a problem with that one. Practice kindness. Get things done and take a break from the news. Not Mr. Roland Martin's news. All right. I'm trying to make it up. Trying to make it up. But we do. Many of us, we watch too much news. And we stay into that office gossip. Come on now. The church gossip. Take a break. They should know that you know everything. If they calling you, come on, there's something wrong with that. Now they was running to your death. You talking about, I'll be the light of the world. No, you not. You sharing too much. Take a break from the news. Can we commit to 2 of those 10 things? Just for this year. 2. And do a better job. And watch, if you commit to 2, you will see improvements in your life. I guarantee you. You can call me up if you don't. But I don't expect no calls on that one. I guarantee you will. Let me just share this with you. Protect your baseline. All right? Limit your after-hour work calls and conversations. I know that's difficult to do for some people, but limit them. Then schedule your relaxation time consistently, and then ask for help from your colleagues, friends, administrators, and then say no more often when appropriate, okay? Your baseline is where your PCWC is operating at ideally. So we will have dips. There will be times when we go below our baseline. That's okay. That's when we get fatigued. But you want to protect your baseline. So while you're here in this conference, identify what your baseline is and then protect it. And this is how you protect that. And then repeat this saying with me, just because you take breaks doesn't mean you're broken. Doesn't mean you're broken. You gotta take breaks. You gotta steal away. You gotta cut off communication. Too many of us are already sensitized to a phone. I mean, if my phone started ringing, everybody be looking at their phone, and it's my phone. It's true, I've seen it. We're so sensitized to that. Take a break from your phone. Turn your phone off. You're not that important. Come on now. So take breaks. Doesn't mean you're broken. All right. I have this slide here. I love my family. My parents were supposed to come here today, but they're preparing for convocation in Memphis. We went on a family cruise in 2022, and this plant was in my house. I forgot to water it before I left. So that's what it looked like when I got back home. I neglected the wholeness. I was like, man, is it dead? Somebody said, you should throw it out. It looked dead, don't it? But guess what? And also notice, and the Lord gave me this revelation this morning as I was studying, it's in the same place, same amount of light, same position, hasn't changed. Only thing that changed is I just added some water to it. Some of you all want to, and I hear the Lord on this one. Some of y'all want to jump ship because you feel like you're dying. And God has always said, nah, baby, nah, son. You just need to be watered. Stay where you're at. Now, for some people, you do need to move, but some people, you jump ship way too much. And look what happened. I just watered it after, I think, maybe 3 days, and it sprouted right back up. So let me just tell you all, do not neglect your wholeness. You might look like this when you came to Excel, but you're going to come out looking on the right when you leave this conference. This is how, put that back up, put that back up, put that back up. One more. This is how you can reach out to me. Get my QR code on there. Reach out to me. Would love to hear from you all. I am done and on time, thank God. And want to make sure that you visit my website, and that way you can stay in contact with me. I got a lot of good things going on. Want to make sure that if you're in need of any direct care services, I may be able to point you in the right direction. Or if you need me to come and speak to your audience, whoever, just let me know. We'll see what we can do. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for this time today. And I don't think we have any time for questions, but I am done. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Dr. Shepherd a round of applause. Thank you so much. Please enjoy the next 15-minute break. If you can, please join the next 15-minute break. We'll be right back in this room at 3:15. 3:15 to start our next session. 3:15, our next and last session at 3:15. Educators, 3:15 in the Juno room. Educators, 3:15 in the Juno room. For those of you that will be traveling with us going to the Holy Redeemer campus to meet with President Bill Clinton, please be downstairs at 5 p.m. Downstairs at 5 p.m. as we travel to the Holy Redeemer campus to meet with President Bill Clinton. Other than that, please see everyone this evening at 6 p.m. in the Monarch Room for our time of celebration and fun. See you all right here at 3:15 for the last session of the day. Let's get ready. We are about to start. We are about to start our last session of the evening. Let's line up right back. We're ready to start. We're ready to start. Hope you've all been soaring with us. Hope you've been soaring. We're ready to start this last session.
I heard her when she said it last
Welcome to Excel.
She did? Turn this off. You want to use this mic?
Oh, this is fine. I just, I'm gonna just sit down.
If you would take your seats, we are preparing to start. Look at your neighbor and say, let's take a seat and start Excel. One more to go. One more to go. One more to go.
Okay. What's your name?
Pleasure to meet you.
Yes.
Mill Sap.
Mia Sapp.
Yep.
With a no S.
No X.
Yeah, that'll be good. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ooh, sit down.
It'll pick you up. That way you
Okay, and just and you can pull it back just a little bit. I know she's messing me. Hey, she is absolutely messing with me.
That's good. You need a little lecture.
Yeah, is it on? Is
Should I turn it on? I don't know how to turn it on.
okay.
It's all right.
Okay, Ron, are you with BMO? Yeah, let me get this Milwaukee. This kind of talk. BMO. Okay, we don't have banks where I live called BMO.
Okay.
I'm in Mississippi. So y'all down there?
We're not.
Okay.
Not in the South.
And